The perspective that we have of who God is actually determines how we approach the Bible and the scriptures. So, if we have a perspective or a view of God and we like this kind of relationship, for example, if you are a type of person that's very black and white, likes very rule based, legalistic ways, or how you approach God, then you're going to choose a denomination, a Christian denomination, that's going to fit into that kind of approach. So people that, think of God as this judge, then they're going to look and open up the Bible and see God through that lens. And we have plenty of that in the Bible. Why? Because the Bible is a legal book. It's a legal document. It is the birth certificate of the first people of Adam, of Mesopotamia. And so from Genesis to Revelation, it's a very legal book. So it goes hand in hand with a person that is already very legalistic. It sort of fits in with their worldview and in the approach that they want to take in how they relate with God and probably how they relate with other people. And then it compounds the issue when now you're going to be using this legal approach to somehow make other people, believe in the way that, you want to believe, right? If you're this judgmental, legalistic type of person. So the Bible will support you on that, but you're using it for all the wrong reasons. The reason why it's written that way in the Bible, it's not because God's a judge and God is legal and God is all that. No, it's because God was like that to the people of Mesopotamia and then later to Israel. So that's why it's in the Bible. You see what I'm trying to say? So another example is if a person sees God through a lens where he is the master and you are the servant, you're totally going to find scriptural verses that support that, because the Bible is a suzerain vassal treaty. It's a suzerain vassal treaty, and it's a very national treaty. It's a collective identity book. It's not an individualistic book. And so we're living in a very individualistic world in the Western world, and we're trying to use these elements in the Bible and trying to apply it to a very individualistic way of life, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And so people that have this like idea that God is really far up there, they're like the master and they're the servant and they have to obey everything that God is doing, and they're here to just please God, please God, please God, and they don't really think much about how God views them or sees them. Then you're going to find evidence in the Bible that this is what God is like because of your perspective, not necessarily because that is who God is. You see where I'm going with this? So that's a second example. A third example is, say that you view God through this lens of a father figure, and say that you had a father that was very bad or very abusive. Now you're going to look through the Bible through that lens, and you're going to find tons and tons of verses to support that, because when Jesus comes, he calls God Father. And he also tells his disciples, pray, our Father who art in heaven. Very unique in the sense of, they saw God as Lord, as Master, as Judge. And now Jesus is coming and saying, hey, he's our Father. That's great, okay? But for a lot of people that have father wounds or mother wounds, this authority figure wound, they're going to have a lot of issues with trying to approach God in this way of father and son relationship. You see how your perspective really does determine how you view God in the Bible and how those verses are going to support that view if we do not understand the original audience, if we do not understand audience relevance. Audience relevance, and I've made videos on this, audience relevance is very key in how you approach the Bible and what you think the Bible is actually saying. Audience relevance is saying, hey, what is this text? What genre is it? Is it poetry? Is it visions? Is it historical? Is it a, moral tale? What is this? There's a genre. And then, how was it written down? Is it in Hebrew? Is it in Greek? But the concept is always Hebraic. Even though if it was written in Greek, the concept behind it is very Hebraic. So that's another whole issue in itself. And so, and who was it written to? The original audience. So the original audience, definitely from Genesis to Revelation, none of the 66 books of the Bible was even written to us. It's it's a history, it's a past event. Of all of it, all the prophecies have already been fulfilled. So you're reading a historical book and how at a certain time frame, how God interacted with this group of people. So this is why audience relevance is very key. If you don't understand audience relevance and you're thinking the Bible is written to me, I'm going to read myself into the Bible, into the scripture. I'm going to actually apply the Bible to my life without knowing any of the background, any of the cultural, the linguistic, the theological concepts behind it, then you're going to have a lot of problems in moving the scripture like from that point of view to where you want it for yourself, for your spiritual life. And this is where I come in to teach people the difference between that, and how this video is really focusing on your perspective, just you as a person, and how you approach the Bible is going to determine what kind of a Christian denomination you're going to be with, what kind of doctrines you're going to agree with. So is it more that we actually follow the Bible, or we're letting our own, background and our own understanding of ourselves and what we feel comfortable with, letting that define our relationship with God? And that's something to really think through and really process to see, if we are doing that. Because if you are, then you're not allowing the Bible to speak to you. You're not allowing this ancient text to actually give you the message that it was meant to give to us. And it is an amazing story. It's an archetype. And we can then begin to apply if it is applicable. We have to first extract all of the contents in it to see what is the actual meaning behind it all, to finally do that. And I don't think a lot of people are equipped to actually go to that level until we begin to talk and to ask these kinds of questions to ourselves and to one another, because our perspective of how we see God in the relationship and in the personality that we have will determine how we see the Bible. This is why we have over 45,000 different Christian denominations, because of this. When there is just one God, and when there is a different understanding of God in a whole spectrum. And I want to talk about that whole spectrum in my next video.